Okay, if I could have your attention, I would be shocked at this point, but we'll go ahead and transition to our final presentation of the day, so I'll turn it over to Cara.
Okay. And that is kind of one of the benefits of being the last speaker. You know that no matter what you say, no one's going to really listen to you anyway. So if you mess up, then no one really knows. But anyway, I'm Cara Rinehart from Gilbert Middle School, and my talk is kind of about classroom management as well. So it's sort of how I manage keeping track of student work in class, and my switch to sort of doing all paper to online as well, and how I kind of keep both of those systems going, because I use paper notebooks and online a website that I have the kids create at the beginning of the school year. So it doesn't seem to be quite as complicated as the Moodle that was shared earlier this morning, but the Moodle seemed like it had more capabilities than what I do. So I don't know, I'd like to learn more about that. So what I really like about science notebooking, I started this about 3 years ago, and is that it helps students make connections. So that's probably the biggest reason why I've really stuck with it. Last year, I did as my career development, whatever thing that you have to do, that using the notebooks to make connections would improve their Iowa assessment scores. And so I had the coach go through and tabulate, our instructional coach tabulate all the earth science questions and how proficient the kids were. And they were 84% proficient in all the earth science topics, which is what I teach. And I really felt good about that. So, and I know it has a lot to do with just going back and having the kids make connections to the big ideas. So that's what I use it a lot for. And you can see there's, our big connection here is what causes severe weather. And so every activity that we do is connected back to that. So we'll do an activity, write a summary, talk about how it connects. And then we keep reinforcing that big idea and how all those activities fit together. So that is the biggest reason why I've kind of gone in this direction. It also allows for differentiation. So using notebooks and websites, I can they all kind of look a little different. The extended learning program kids and the 504 kids and the IEP kids and dyslexic students that we have, and they have the same basic structure. Everybody has the same notebook and same basic structure and same website, but they're not answered maybe to the same depth or quality, depending on the student, as you know. So everybody learns the same content, but I have that flexibility to grade one kid's notebook at a different level than another's. And just here's some pictures. So, you can tell that on the right, this is a student that visits with our special ed teacher, and he's got really nice answers. They're correct. They're just, they're hard to read, of course, and just different factors. As you know, as a teacher, that you get kind of different papers from the students back. So, but he's still making connections and still learning. So I think that's pretty cool. So we keep a science notebook, so a paper notebook, and then we keep a website at the same time. So they're both organized by the same unit. So I know throughout the year what units I'm teaching. And I keep the units the same. Sometimes I switch the activities. As you go, you learn something new in class like this, and you change those kind of things out. But the website I set up by the unit tabs, and then their notebooks, as we introduce a new unit, they create a unit cover page, and then all of our activities go behind that. So both are organized by units. They're both personalized. The kids do some artwork in them, even online. You can do your own, choosing your own fonts and themes. And then they connect to activities conceptually. So both the website and the notebook both have those conceptual tie-ins to the big idea. So let me click on this, and let's look at a student website. So this would be an example of a student's website. So we set these up at the beginning of the year. I had asked the instructional coach if she'd come in, and she's pretty tech savvy, and so together we set up the website. So you can see that the units are all listed over here on the left. And then as we do activities, I have the kids make web pages, and then we have information to put on there. But this kid obviously loves Iowa State, so he has a lot of Iowa State information. We just finished up a wind blade project where we made wind blades, and so we go through and make a web page for each activity, like especially the big labs that we do, or all the online information. We attach it and embed, and I usually just grade everything actually off of their web pages. Okay, so let me see if I can go back. And then I've got a couple other examples I'll show you at the end. So they're both organized by units, they both can be personalized, and they connect to those big activities. So I still keep the paper journal, because sometimes we do wet labs, like Dew Point Lab has ice, and water, and it's messy, and middle schoolers are known to be messy, and so we still keep the paper journal. On our Windblade lab, so we kept paper copies as well, so they had to come up with some designs. We did a lot of sandpapering of balsa wood, and so the dust gets everywhere. And we're a one-to-one school, so all the kids have Chromebooks. So we put the Chromebooks away when we have out messy stuff, it's just so they don't spill on them. And then we just, when we're doing just our online work, then we clean our desk off and work on all that. So, and then sometimes their brainstorming information goes in here. And some kids prefer to write in their notebook, like take notes. And so I give them the option, do you want to do this online or in your notebook? And so we reserve a page in their science notebook if they want to do it on paper. And those kids that want to go online do put it on their website. So we just kind of keep both running at the same time. Having those units is sort of our tie-in to our big ideas. Some conceptual sketches. You can draw online as well, so kids could do that online as well. I kind of like to do it. I think that hand-brain connection works well sometimes, conceptualizing thoughts. So, and again, differentiation, so the student on the left, that's the sketch, and then there's the student on the right that, is kind of a more average student in their work, so. And this would be an extended learning program student who, kind of went above and beyond with their sketches, so. My husband's an engineer, works for STEM Corporation, in engineering, he's an engineer, and he tells me all the time, because at our school we have this huge push to collaborate, and we hear that a lot, collaboration. He says, Cara, in the STEM world, no one collaborates. Everything's proprietary, and you don't do anything online. You don't put any of your work online that you've done, and so he said, it's okay to do the notebooks, and it's okay to not share stuff. Like, it is okay, because that is truly STEM work. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I don't know, all the time in the education world we hear about collaboration, which is good. We do need to talk to each other, but in the working world, there's not a lot of collaboration because everybody's proprietary, trying to make their own product and trademarking things. So I just threw that in there for fun. So using a Google website, that's what I use online. So we use a Google website. We're one-to-one. We have Chromebooks, and they're directly related to Google. So we use the Google website. It works well with Classroom, with that we just kind of talked about. So I push everything out through Classroom, and their documents and spreadsheets that are sent through Classroom just embed directly into their Google website. And any changes that you make, no matter where you make the changes everywhere. So if I say you need to go back and fix this, they'll go back and fix it, and it just updates automatically on their website. And then I pretty much grade everything through their website. I don't grade it through Classroom. So it's kind of the way I manage the class. I go to their websites and look and see their progress and see how they're doing and kind of grade everything off the website. And again, everything is organized by units, all their online documents and spreadsheets, pictures and videos. I like the Google website because you can upload and embed pictures and videos of their labs too, and that's kind of fun. The kids really like doing that. So here's some examples of some different students. I showed you one already, and then here's a couple of different students. This gal was really excited when we first set her website up. This is her own picture that she took she's in photography club at our school, and she used her picture as the background. So that's that personalization and ownership of their website. So this is her atmosphere and weather page. So it's the unit on atmosphere weather. And so her cover page here, she just went through, and all the kids' cover pages kind of look different. So I let them personalize it that way. And all the different kind of online activities that we did. So some summary. I had some questions and had them answer those. Graph that they did based on comparing different sunscreen types. So, and this is a different person's work as well. So again, the wind blade project summarized kind of what they did in their process, and then on their spreadsheet, I have them embed their spreadsheets, and I sent this to them through Classroom, and then I gave them the structure of the spreadsheet, and then they had to make their graphs, and then on the spreadsheet, you can move the graph to its own page, so it's really easy for me just to go through and click and look and see what they did. So that's how I use that. Pretty much, I think that's really all I had. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I do have some Chuck Norris jokes to end on. Oh, wait, before we go to those, so Cool and Cheap. My daughter sent this to me from Dort, one of her professors at Dort University. Some of you have probably already seen this, but if you haven't, it's really cool. I'm in the process, my engineer husband, is helping me build these. We're waiting for the lenses to come in, and then we're gonna finish building and we have everything built. So I'm really excited about trying these in the classroom. So just to kind of a dissecting type microscope. We have regular microscopes, but for looking at minerals and macroinvertebrates when we do those creek tests. And so I'm really excited about getting these built and using we're building 10 of them so we can use them as a class set. But so that link is on the sheet, and then here's some Chuck Norris jokes. I don't know. We're into Chuck Norris, so. Yes.
Do you have an effective peer review sheet? I was kind of searching through this. I mean, the expertise in this group, but one that's safe, where the kids sit down and document and do a peer review. Do you carry out that activity?
That's a great question. I don't too much in my room. Our language arts teacher uses peer review all the time, and she has some really nice ones. I could maybe forward, get those from her and forward those to you. Okay. Maybe just give me your email before we leave, and yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
This is my second year doing the notebooks, and maybe it's just a middle school thing, but how do you motivate kids to doodle or, to draw instead of just
It is very
take down
painful.
notes?
It is very painful.
Bribe them with candy or?
I go around and I say your sketch is microscopic, and we need to be able to see it. A lot of times they draw really small. And probably I need to front load how to draw a sketch. I really haven't done that a whole lot. Just how do you conceptualize something and how do you do a sketch? Maybe talking about that more specifically, because I find that middle schoolers need a lot of specifics. I do give some examples. If I see one that's really nice, because there are those artists in the class, I'll hold it up, and show the kids and talk about it. But it is tricky because it's hard for them. Yeah, it takes a lot of effort. Yeah.
I'm just curious about who the audience for the websites are beyond you. Do they
That's a
share
good
with each
question.
other? Do you have them posted somewhere so that parents can see? Who else gets to see what
That's a really good question. And with all the privacy laws and issues and all that kind of stuff, I actually have the websites under the school umbrella. I had to have the kids open this up to public sharing to show it today. And then we'll go close it, so after this. And the parents actually aren't able to see it unless the kids show them, which is something that I would like to change, but I'm not sure how to do that because you have to be under that Gilbert umbrella to see with a Gilbert, email or whatever. So, yeah. So I look at them, the kids look at them. I don't know if they share them with anybody else, honestly, because if they do that and other kids can edit them, they're pretty tight with their science notebooks and websites. Okay, so last year when we did it, no experience whatsoever, and it was very painful, but we got through it. This year it seemed a little easier, and that's why I had the other person come in and help me, the instructional coach, because that way she could go through it and I could walk around the room. So it did take a little while, but I give them that basic structure. I had them name it very specifically so that I could search for it easily, and then kind of the basic structure, and then we went through. So yeah, with no experience, it does take a little effort. So, it helped a little bit. And since we're one-to-one every year, and I think someone else mentioned that as you see the younger grades doing more things, it gets easier in your classroom. So.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, just a couple things to wrap up here. If I can switch with you, yeah. One thing we would ask everybody to do, so this will give you something to work on while I'm talking, is at the bottom of the agenda there is an evaluation. So we'd ask everybody to fill that out before you go. Just a couple things to consider or discuss before we go is at the top I put a link to the Heartland page, as I mentioned earlier, at least the science page. So if on this page there are links to where you can check out those Sparks kits. So over here where it says science probes, proscopes, and other equipment, here's where you can find the specifics of those human body kits, physical science, renewable energy, etc. Remember, in order to check them out, it will say that you do get to have training, so it won't let you check them out unless I've already had that training. Another thing I would point out on our site is some of you may have heard that in August, the state board adopted new science standards. So we do have a site or a page dedicated to that has the letter from the board, a little introductory video. And also, if you have not heard, we are providing what the state is calling Module 1, which is kind of an introduction to the science standards. And there's places to register for those 5 different dates. We're doing it in the south, east, west, north, and central. The one in Johnston is already full, so I wouldn't recommend trying to sign up for that one. It's actually a day and a half, so if you haven't heard of it or your administrators have not heard of it, there's information about that as well. Also, if there's anybody who does anything with watersheds or water quality, I'm part of a grant called Model My Watershed through the Concord Consortium. And there's a $1,000 stipend for 3 days of work down in Kansas and then some follow-up during the year. So I do have applications if anybody's interested in that. It provides a tech tool. You get these probes to test water quality, and it hooks you up to a Model My Watershed site where you go into a map, you map your actual school. What would happen if we built a parking lot here? What would happen if we built a rain garden here? How's that going to impact your watershed in your area? So it is taking kind of a national look at watersheds and then bringing it down to local action in your own situation. So I do have applications for that if people are interested in that. Also, I would ask you and challenge you in future TIC sessions, if there's something you're doing with technology in your classroom, or if you know somebody in your building, please let us know. The way that we learn and grow is by sharing the information that each of you have. So one final time, I'd like to thank our presenters for being brave enough to share the things that they're doing in your classroom, and I thank you for your attendance and for all the things that you're doing in your classroom every day. If you do have social studies teachers that are interested, the next TIC session we have is on social studies. It'll be January 26th, and there is a link to register for that. Any final announcements that any of the tech folks have or would like to share? If not, thank you for your time and attendance. Please take a minute or so to fill out that evaluation and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.